Hello everyone, my name is Serafi and I'm happy to meet you all. And today we are going to be playing the Floral Knights deck, which I have been really excited to try out ever since Sherry was announced in Duel Links. All the new cards have come to the game, and it's not quite as good as I was hoping for. We aren't getting Necro Synchron or Synchro Dilemma yet, which I assume are going to be the UR and SR rerun drops. But the deck is solid. Is it good? I've gotten a lot of people asking me that. You can compare this deck to Suships, because Suships was also a deck that only had super rares in the last and main box. And Suships is probably better than this, but I feel like this deck has a lot of potential, and we don't have all the cards for it quite yet. I'm wondering if Necro Synchron is going to push this deck into viability. If you're going into the box already, I would definitely go ahead and pick up these cards. They are a lot of fun to play, and let's go over what we can do with them. The skill is called Graceful Blade. The skill can only be used once per turn, but infinite times per duel. On the turn you use the skill, you cannot special summon except for monsters from the extra deck and Synchron Tuners and Noble Knight monsters with 800 attack points, which does mean that you can't summon Chevalier de Fleur or Chevalier de Fleur, which is really, really frustrating. But I guess that's going to be a separate deck. Send one Noble Knight Spearholder from your hand to the graveyard, then set one Polymerization from outside your deck to your field, and send one Fleur Synchron from outside your deck to the graveyard. Then you can add one Noble Knight monster with 800 attack or one Floret de Fleur from your deck or graveyard to your hand. Fantastic! So this means that you only need to play one Floret de Fleur, because you can get it back from the graveyard every single turn. And it means that you can get your Polymerization from outside your deck and Fleur Synchron from outside your deck. So you don't need to play either one of those cards. Now, the skill does seem kind of redundant to a lot of people because Horse of the Floral Knights already fusion summons, but the thing is, your opponent can respond to you summoning Horse of the Floral Knights and searching by compulsing or by crackdowning, stuff like that. So Polymerization actually allows you to use a separate Horse of the Floral Knights in your hand to fusion summon a second Centaur Mina. You can actually also fusion summon twice in the same turn with the skill. So the skill's Polymerization is actually more impactful than I thought it was going to be. For the main deck, we have Ghost Warner and Moonlit Chill. If your opponent special summons a monster, you can discard this card, target one of those face-up cards, negate its effects until the end of the turn. Also, if that face-up monster leaves the field this turn, its controller takes damage equal to half its original attack points. So, this card you can use on a monster that is going to be used as material to burn your opponent. And it's also a negate, which is nice. I'm playing this card mostly because it's in the new box. You could play Effect Veiler instead of this card, and it would probably be the same. You could play DD Crow here, but I like this card, and I like the artwork, so I decided to give it a try. Noble Knight Shieldbearer. If this card is normal or special summon, you can banish one light monster from your graveyard to draw a card. If this is the only card in your hand, and you don't really think that you can pull off a Centaur Mina play, that effect is not the worst thing in the world to do. Drawing an extra card, maybe you get some back row like Crackdown, which could help you survive a turn. It's something that you can do on turn 4 or 5. You can banish this card from your hand or field to add one level 6 or lower Wind Beast monster from your deck to your hand, which could either be your Horse of the Floral Knights, or if you were playing it, the other horse. I'm not playing it because I don't have Fleur Synchron in the deck. It's a good effect, and you can draw it off the skill, so absolutely play this card at 3. Horse of the Floral Knights, if this card is normal or special summon, you can add one light Noble Knight monster from your deck to your hand. Once per turn during your main phase, you can fusion summon one fusion monster from your extra deck using this card you control and other monsters from your hand or field as material. So you normal summon Horse of the Floral Knights, you draw your Noble Knight Spearholder, then you can use the skill, draw your Noble Knight Shieldbearer, Horse of the Floral Knights fuse with Shieldbearer, and then you can activate Polymerization to fuse again. And then Centaur Mina will let you revive your Fleur Synchron that you sent to the graveyard with the skill, then you can go into Chevalier instantly. So Horse of the Floral Knights is a one-card combo. Noble Knight Spearholder, if this card is normal or special summon, you can target one level 8 or lower monster you control. Its name becomes Fleur Synchron, also it is treated as a tuner until the end phase. You can tribute this card to add one equip spell from your deck to your hand. So Noble Knight Spearholder can get you your Floret de Fleur if you want to, but the skill searches it for you, so you don't really need to do that. When you revive it with your Centaur Mina, then you can target Centaur Mina becomes Fleur Synchron, and then you can immediately go into Chevalier. So, pretty good card overall. Then 3 Book of Moons, 3 Paleozoic Dynamiscus, and 3 Cracktons. Paleozoic Dynamiscus, this could be DD Crow, it could be Effect Veiler. I feel like Dynamiscus is probably the best option because what we really struggle with is attack points. We really need to get rid of our opponent's 3,000 attack monsters because we don't have any high attack monsters to beat over them with. So yeah, I think this card's probably the best option. And the level 2 that it comes back with can also be used to make your Herald of the Arclight or something else. Lastly, for the main deck, we have Floral Knights de Fleur. Activate this card by targeting a level 2 or lower monster in your graveyard, special summon it, but negate its effects. Also equip it with this card. When this card, equipped by this effect, leaves the field, destroy that monster. The equipped monster gains 700 attack points. If this card is sent from the spell and trap zone to the graveyard, you can equip this card to one synchro monster you control. You can only use this effect of Floral Knights de Fleur once per turn, and you can only activate one Floral Knights de Fleur per turn. Okay, so this is a decent card. It allows you to bring back your monster, and then you can go into your Floor Synchron, and then once you've sent the monster to the graveyard to summon Floor Synchron, it equips to Floor Synchron, and Floor Synchron now has 3,400 attack points. That's a very useful option. And you can recycle it, so cool. For the extra deck, we have Centaur Mina, one Light Warrior plus one Beast type monster. Once per turn during your turn, when your opponent activates a trap card, as a quick effect you can negate the activation, and if you do, set that card. You can only use each of the following effects of Centaur Mina once per turn. During your main phase, you can special summon one level 2 or lower monster from your hand or graveyard. If this card is sent to the graveyard as synchro material for a Wind Warrior type monster, you can destroy one face-up monster on the field. So that is an optional effect, but it does not miss timing, and it also does not target. So your opponent, if you activate this effect, your opponent does not get a chance to respond to the targeting. They have to respond to the effect being activated, or their monster will just be popped. Also, make sure that you say no if you do this on turn 1, because otherwise you will have to destroy one of your own monsters. So it's an optional effect. Do not trigger if your opponent does not have any targets for you. Herald of the Arclight, one tuner plus one or more non-tuners. Any monster sent from the hand or main deck to the graveyard is banished instead. That's fantastic for dealing with all the zombie cards. During either player's turn, when a spell, trap, or monster effect is activated, you can tribute this card and negate the activation. If you do, destroy that card. And if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add a ritual monster or ritual spell from your deck to your hand. You could cook with that, try and figure out a way to put rituals in this deck, but I don't really see the need. So, what you can do with this card, you activate your Floral Knights de Fleur, you bring back your Noble Knight Spearholder, Centaur Mina brings back the Floor Synchron that you have in the graveyard, which is a level 2 tuner. Then you combine the two monsters, you get Herald of the Arclight, and your turn 1 could be potentially Centaur Mina plus Herald of the Arclight. And then if Centaur Mina survives the next turn, during your turn 2, you can summon another Floor Synchron from your graveyard and go back into Chevalier de Fleur at that time. So that's definitely an option. Centaur Mina plus Herald of the Arclight does seem like the best turn 1 that this deck can possibly have. I don't do this in the replay though. I only came up with this kind of after I made this video. Chevalier, once per turn during each of your turns, when your opponent activates a spell trap card, you can negate the activation, and if you do, destroy the card. Fantastic. It's a decent Void Ogre Dragon type monster. The only problem is its stats, and the fact that it can't activate the effect during both players' turns. But it's a good card. Then Nightmare Unicorn, Nightmare Cerberus, and Nightmare Phoenix. The thing is, Mina revives a monster from your graveyard, and then Floral Knights de Fleur gets added to your hand, and that can also revive a monster from your graveyard. Horse of the Floral Knights is basically a one-card Nightmare Unicorn as well. That's really good, actually. So don't sleep on that. Nightmare Cerberus, Nightmare Phoenix, like, you can very easily make a good board with this deck if you are going second. It's just going first that's a problem. Okay, let's take a look at the replay. Alright, we're going second against Galaxy Eyes. Ignore these cards I was messing around with. So I have Chevalier de Fleur and Sorcerer de Fleur. I was kind of messing around when I first started making this deck, and I played it more like of a character-themed deck. The deck that I put in the actual description is the deck being serious. So we're basically down 2 cards this game. No big deal. Our turn, we draw, we normal summon Horse of the Floral Knights, and we're going to add our Noble Knight Spearholder. Our opponent compulses. Okay, that's not good. But we have the skill. So we toss the Noble Knight Spearholder, we set Polymerization. Then we draw another Floral Knights de Fleur. Activate Polymerization, we're going to fuse our Horse of the Floral Knights and our Noble Knight Shieldbearer into Centaur Mina. Centaur Mina bring back the Floor Synchron and Synchro into Chevalier. Then we set our Crackdown and we attack directly. It's our opponent's turn. They activate Compulse. They couldn't Compulse during our turn because Chevalier would just negate it. Then they're going to activate Galaxy Soldier. They discard Photon Orbital. Special summon Galaxy Soldier, draw Photon Dragon. Activate this skill. Reveal Photon Dragon to draw Galaxy Brave and Galaxy Knight. Special Summon Brave. And now link these two off into the Soul Flare Dragon. Soul Flare Dragon return Galaxy Soldier to the hand, and the opponent is going to activate Photon Stream of Destruction targeting the Crackdown. I am going to chain the Crackdown, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take his Soul Flare Dragon, and then when he banishes the Crackdown and it returns to his field, it is no longer in the extra monster zone. So now he has one less space to work with. Now, he does not have Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon in his graveyard, so that means that he can't revive it with the Galaxy Knight yet. So he's going to activate Galaxy Soldier's effect to discard the Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon. But then he special summons his Galaxy Soldier. Now if he summons Galaxy Knight, Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon cannot come back to the field. And he doesn't have another Link monster to make. So he has locked himself out of his board. So my Crackdown play actually completely messed up his turn. He's going to attack me directly and pass. It's my turn. So my opponent has one card in his hand, which I know is Galaxy Knight. And Galaxy Eyes Soul Flare Dragon has to discard a Photon and Galaxy card to destroy a card, unless they have Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon in their hand. So my opponent's Galaxy Eyes Soul Flare Dragon is not live. I know this. I'm going to go ahead and activate my skill again, and I discard my Noble Knight Spear Holder to set Polymerization and add Shield Bearer to hand. Activate Shield Bearer's effect, banish it to draw Horse of the Floral Knights. Normal summon Horse of the Floral Knights and draw another Shield Bearer, and then use the effect to Fusion Summon. Summon another Centaur Mina. Centaur Mina, bring back the Floor Synchron, activate Floral de Fleur to bring back Floor Synchron again, synchro into Chevalier, and that will allow me to use Floral de Fleur to equip the Chevalier de Fleur, activate Centaur Mina's effect from the graveyard to pop the Galaxy Soldier. 3,400 attack points, he has 1,300 life points left, so I win. He's going to go ahead and surrender, and there you go. So we played through 2 Compulses, we played through a Photon Stream of Destruction, and we were able to survive the devastating skill of Photon Dragon Advent with no problems. This is the power of a skill that recycles and lets you fusion summon every single turn. It is possible that you want to play 3 Centaur Minas instead of 2. I have thought of that several times. I'm not really sure what the optimal extra deck is yet, but I hope you guys can figure it out. My name is Serafi, and I was thrilled to have all of you with me.